I'm John Hanna for CDTV.net in New York, and we have Dirk Dijk, Chief Equity Strategist at Zacks.com, joining us from Dayton, Ohio. Good afternoon, Dirk.
Good afternoon, John.
How you doing, Dirk?
Oh, not too bad. Finally, the weather seems like just a nice summer day rather than sitting in a sauna. So, life's not all bad.
There you go. There you go. This morning we've had the some real estate data that you want to talk to us about, right?
Yeah, we got two of the more important numbers on housing. We got new home sales, and as regular listeners will realize, I consider new home sales to be much more important than existing home sales, even though they're a much smaller amount of new home sales than existing home sales. But each new home sale represents an awful lot of actual economic activity, where existing home sales is just transfer of an existing asset and really doesn't make that much difference. What really matters in existing home sales is the prices of the home sales, because houses are a leveraged asset, which means that if the price moves up a little bit, the value of what the homeowner owns can move up an awful lot. Similarly, if it moves down, the homeowner can get wiped out. And today we got some news on both fronts: the prices on existing homes and the level of new home sales. The Case-Shiller index, which is it's sort of the gold standard for housing price data, but it's real slow. What we got today was the May data, and the May data is actually a 3-month moving average of March, April, and May. So it's not the most timely data, and what we did was sort of a mixed picture. We got the composite 10 was up 0.15% month to month, while the composite 20, which includes the composite 10, but 10 additional cities, was down 0.5% from April to May. On a year-over-year basis, both were down 3.61% in the case of the composite 10, and down 4.49% for the composite 20. From the peak, which was back in April of 2006, both indexes are about down the same, down 31.77%. You had 9 of the markets in the composite 20 up, 11 down, but some of the declines look bigger than the gainers. But then again, some of the gainers were the bigger areas, the bigger metropolitan areas. The best performing market was Washington, D.C., up 1.35%, followed by Boston, New York, Chicago, and Miami, all on a month basis. New York is obviously a very big market, so even though it was up 0.42%, that's probably more significant than a market like Tampa, which was down 1.48%. When I look at the 4 or the 5 worst performing cities in the Case-Shiller, 4 of them are the perpetual basket cases, and 1 is a really strong one that is playing catch up on the downside. Detroit was the worst, down 3.14%. You're getting down to awfully low absolute values there, so things can get pretty volatile. Followed by Tampa, down 1.48%, and then Las Vegas and Phoenix were on the list, down 0.93 and 0.54% respectively. But then Dallas, which has been the absolute standout, since the peak, was also amongst the worst performers, down 0.71%. Year over year, it's kind of the same story in terms of the lists of who's best and who's worst. Washington, D.C. Was the best performer, and it's the only one that's actually up year over year, up 1.29%. And then everybody else, with 4 exceptions, are down at least 4%. And there are 3 cities that are down between 3 and 4%: Boston, New York, Denver, and L.A. On the other hand, the worst performing city was the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, down 11.66%. And then, you get 4 more that were down between 9 and 10%. Portland, Detroit, Tampa, and Phoenix. So you're talking about some pretty hefty declines there on a year-over-year basis. Net, what do I take from all this is that the housing situation is not really getting any better. I mean, we're not seeing a meaningful deterioration, but you're not. When you're down this bad, it's hard to get worse than atrocious. But we're not really seeing any signs of improvement. And, until we get some improvement in the housing market, it's really hard to see how we end up with robust growth in the economy.
That's Dirk Van Dijk, Chief Equity Strategist at Zacks.com, joining us from Dayton, Ohio, and I'm John Hanna for CityTV.net in New York.